Hello, fashion friends and family. This is Stacy here from Sew Bromo and Elsa Fitzgerald. I am dropping off some books, and if you don't already know, I have a book obsession. So I'll be stocking the library, but I'm going to flip the camera over so you can see Mr. Hardy.
Hello.
I'm going to come over. I heard you were doing some of your kabaya work today. For some of you who don't know, Mr. Hardy's training with Ibu Nuri as her learner. Although he's an expert tailor and does alterations for his business, he's never made this traditional garment. So it's been quite an adventure, it seems.
Yes, and she was telling me I might be the first American male that made a kabaya.
I'm curious. That
Yeah.
sounds like
That's
interesting.
That's groundbreaking.
What are you working on over here?
I'm actually rethreading the serger, and it has 4 threads. We're gonna blow it out too. Sometime when it serges, some of that previous color may get into something that is a different color in the seams. But it's good to do a cleaning once a week at least.
Yeah.
After it's used. What normally, these machines here, you normally don't cut them all off. You tie them because it's a challenge to thread them.
Oh, did those get cut?
Yeah, they were cut.
I'm surprised.
They were cut.
I'm surprised they were cut.
You don't cut it all off, so you don't have to rethread it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go through my big bag of books. Right. Yes. But this book, the Floating Threads book, I actually bought this book in Indonesia when I was on my trip back from Jakarta to Bali, or the other way around, I can't remember. But I had to leave it because it was so heavy and I had other things to bring back. But it is, yeah, I found it online. It was the only one, so I'm happy to have that. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Okay, Royal School of Needlework. This is the Royal School of Needlework is based out of Roehampton Court. I would be so excited to be taking classes there in person. Maybe next year in the fall. We'll see. Depends on. And here's another one. So they really focused on the needlework in particular. What else do we have? Of course, we have a kabaya book. And then we have another Indonesian textiles book, traditional textiles. And then you have your usual fashion houses with the luxury side of things with Dior, Valentino, and Balenciaga. And this one was pretty fun. I bought this from Greedy Reads in an area here in Baltimore and Hamden. Bespoke revelations from the world's most important fashion designers. But I really loved the illustrations here. They weren't like your traditional images of a fashion designer book. And then I think there was ones that, yeah. So, what else? I really love fashion libraries. Oh, this is another one I bought from that Greedy Reads, but I liked it not so much as a fashion reference. Oh, which is interesting. They have some images of factory workers here, but there was an image here of different art I found beautiful, which I haven't even gotten to read this yet. But it looks very surrealist-like. It's called The Cold Gaze, Germany in the 1920s. And I had done some work with the Maryland Historical Society, did an exhibition with them in the past, working with their fashion archives. There's a dress in here that my dress was displayed and exhibited with, which was beautiful, and I would love to recreate that as a modern day Elsa Fitzgerald dress. And of course, vintage fashion. What do we have here? Americana designers, evening wear. Have you noticed my amazing totes? they were made right here in that, well, actually some of them were made right here in this So Bromo space, but also at Belvedere Terrace in Tilly. They're designed, developed by Nicole. They are made from coffee bean bags, and they are so versatile, and I always use them to carry things around. So you can purchase them from Icosa Apparel. Hoping to have our little logo turned into a wooden piece via Couple and Kismet, but for now we have our little paper sign that we had put up when we started doing our tours last year. As some of you have already read, it's our post, but where the logo comes from, when we were at the original Bromo Seltzer Tower, this is to scale of me standing in the face of the clock, and I was sort of like charging forward. So it's an image of a woman charging forward, but holding, almost taking the needle of time to sew forward and bring forward a new era of industry, but running ahead. So we hold heritage in our hands, but we bring it forward into the future. Well, I'm here at Joann Fabrics, and coming here brought up some strange memories. So just for context, I worked for an old garment factory. I believe I was making $16 an hour at one point. No vacation time, no sick days, and I had previously been working as a director for a fashion house in London, and of course my family was particularly pushing back on me for working at such a low salary, for having a double master's and international experience, work for these big fashion houses. But it was really important for me to work in the industry, to understand I don't know how things are made and who they're made by. And I worked for that garment factory for 3 years. At one point I did leave briefly, and I worked for a multinational corporation as their innovation manager for 6 months, and everything was made offshore. Some production was made here. It got acquired by a bigger company, and I just didn't connect to it, so I ended up leaving and then coming back to that garment factory. Anyway, the reason why it brings up strange memories to be here, I actually worked at Joann Fabrics very early in the mornings on Saturdays and Sundays, and I was stocking boxes so that I could pay for my studio rent at the Bromo Tower. And then I barely had any time at the Bromo Tower. But the reason why there's this discomfort in the emotion is that a part of the story that I have not really told so publicly is that I was laid off by that company, by that factory, for fighting for the workers' rights. And the reason why I never said anything about it, mainly because I didn't want the stitchers' jobs to be compromised. It's one of the old school factories. It's sort of traumatic as to how it all happened. But I don't want to speak poorly of this factory, but I have to say that caused enough embarrassment, stress, discomfort in my soul and anger that I was like, we need to do something about it. Not because I had to be his competition, but because I had to be a better solution or an alternative to industry that this old school manufacturer wasn't offering. So I'm really glad with our programming that we've been able to create access, we're able to empower the entrepreneur, we're able to create change, and also let that side of the industry to kind of fade out. Anyway, I usually don't shop at Joann Fabrics for our supplies, but we are the fabric supplier we usually order from. I didn't get the order in time, so I'll have to pick up some fabrics for our upcoming class. Oh my gosh, I remember the day like it was yesterday when I came here, and I felt so distraught by being, I don't know, let go. But he didn't officially let me go. He just told me I needed to leave, which is mind-boggling. But I tell this story now because I remember at that moment feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? This is so emotionally debilitating and sad because I believed in the mission of this organization. I felt like everything I believed in sort of I don't even know. It was just, I was committing to this industry and this dream, and I guess I know I turned a blind eye to so many things and injustices that are happening in that factory. But again, I thought it was for the greater good of the industry so that the stitchers would have jobs. But I'm saying now, I'm telling the story now because in that moment, I knew that I would be better for this on the other side of it, but I had to go through a lot in that transition. But I'm so glad I did, because it caused me to be stronger, it caused me to be more resilient, and it really forced me to align with the reality that I wanted to be a part of creating. So I'm so thankful that I got kicked out the door because I had to open another one. Well, as I wrap up this evening, one of the biggest objectives I have, in addition to keeping these heritage skills alive, is to ensure that the entrepreneur has a living wage. If not a living wage, they can survive and prosper. But the industry is set up in such a way that it just keeps on forcing the wage down and having the stitcher accept less and less, yet the cost of living continues to rise around the world. So we're not sure how to do that where it's not completely putting that burden on the consumer in the end, but we have to search for solutions. Otherwise, what's the point of getting into the industry? All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.